guys, Ann here. So for the June Beginners Challenge, we're going to do something a little challenging. Probably for most of you, it's challenging for me sometimes. And so I'm going to start with this. We're going to make an off Mandrel Starfish. So I'm going to start with a fairly decent sized glob of glass on the end of a rod. I need a pair of scissors, and I need a marver of some sort. So I'm going to make this gather of glass nice and warm, and I'm going to let it gently form a Maria on the end of my rod here. So by Maria, what I'm saying is I'm going to flatten one side of it. You see, so it's flat on one side and still kind of rounded on the other. If you jab it down onto your marver too hard, it will make that rod just make a dimple into it. So you don't want to do that too much. You want to be able to get that rod out later. So next I'm going to take my scissors in one hand. I'm going to heat one section of this Maria, and I'm going to snip it with my scissors. You don't need nice glass shears. You can buy a cheap pair from DeVarty, or you can buy a cheap pair from Franz, or wherever you buy glass from. Or you can use your home scissors if you've got a pair that you don't particularly like that don't have plastic on them. Plastic, if you get it too close to the hot, you're going to melt it. So next I heat it up another area. I'm going to snip through, make your first cut just a little, and then heat it back up. If you need to heat it a couple of times, that's fine, because you don't want to make it snap. Okay, you want to gently heat it back up in the next spot, cut a little, heat it back up. That thinner area of glass is going to heat up faster than the fatter areas, so it should allow you to cut the rest of the way through with your shears. Alright, so I've got 3 areas here. I'm going to work on my next one. So you're just focusing your heat on that glass glob where you want to cut next. And it doesn't have to be molten, drippy hot. Okay, so I need one more cut here. Alright, so I got my holding rod a little warm. Now you're going to need another just end of a rod to then pull out your arms. So as you can see, I have 5 little things. It could be a little flower at this point. It could be pretty much anything you wanted it to be. I'm going to pick one of these arms, and I'm going to heat it up. I'm going to try and focus my flame just on that one arm. So I need to move my arm around to get that heat there. And I want this whole arm to be warm. It doesn't have to be all molten, but I want it to be warm because I don't want to just pull out the end, the tip of it. I want to pull out this whole piece of glass here. I need my tool here that I'm using, this other rod of glass, to be warm, so I'm just heating it up a little bit. I got my arm nice and warm, and I'm going to tack it on and pull it out. Now the warmer you have the whole piece of glass, the more evenly it's going to pull out. If it only pulls out at the end, then you only have the end hot. So you want to make sure that you... Now I've melted these two on, there we go, completely together. So what I'm going to have to do is I broke off that one, and I'll heat it up and pull it off. I don't want to pull off too much of my actual arm, so heat up and take off that piece that I accidentally left on there. Alright, so get my little tool ready again. Heat up my next area that I want to pull out. And only him if I can. Again, the only way to do that is to move your glass around attach it a little bit, and sometimes if you push it in a little bit and tug it out a little bit, that helps the whole thing, the whole mass to move with you. Okay, so I pulled it out, and once it cools, it'll let go of that extra piece of that tool piece of glass that I'm using. Now I'm going to move on to the next arm and heat it up as best I can without heating up my punty piece of glass. Alright, grab it with your tool, pull it out. Again, if you push and pull, you might get more glass to come with you. Alright, that's on there. And you're going to do that for all 5 of your arms here. Tack it on with your tool piece of glass and pull it out. Let it cool down. Now you can see that other arm that I had just made kind of shrunk back on itself. There's nothing we can't fix. So we can heat him back up and tug him out again. And last but not least, the last little guy here. Heat him all up. With these, you can put a bail on it. You can use one of the arms and make a bail out of it. You can. These I'm just going to use as more of a decoration as opposed to a piece of jewelry. But these make really cute necklaces, or pendants I should say. Alright, so I've pulled out my last leg here. I'm going to just let it cool down. Now I'm going to round out the ends of my arms. Can't decide if these are arms or legs on this poor little starfish. So I'm just rounding out the tips of them because I don't want any sharp pokies. And when you're using the tool, it tends to leave the glass as a tool. It tends to leave it kind of dull, a dull end. So you want to round that out. Now we have this cute little starfish here. Fairly simple. If you like this side, that's fine. You can use that side as your top. If you want, you can now punty it up. This is what Boro people do. Boro glass workers do a lot. They change where their punty is. So that's what I'm going to show you here. I'm going to use a piece of clear and I'm going to punty up. You could punty up with a piece of your ivory again, which is what my base color is on this little guy. So I'm going to just make it a little point so it touches the least surface area as it can. I'm going to heat my punty up and leave my starfish kind of cool. Now I'm going to burn off this ivory that I have been using as my punty, where we built our little starfish all up. And I'm going to take off this extra lump of glass you see on the tip there that I left when I took off my punty, my rod. I'm going to take it off. Whoops. And when that happens, you just re-punty up. So you're going to have a hot seal here with your clear and cold with your starfish so that it'll pop off. And you want it to be able to pop off. Alright, so I'm just heating up that area there and I'm going to take it off. Now I have still got a lump in the center of my starfish. And I kind of like that lump in the center of my starfish. I'm going to use a decorative glass. It can be any transparent you like, or a opaque, whatever. I'm going to use double helix Triton because I already had it pulled into a stringer. So, and it was right next to my bench. So I'm going to make dots along in the center and along each arm, just as a decoration for my little starfish. Just going to put 3 on each one. Apparently my depth perception is off because I don't have on my usual pair of glasses. Putting these dots where I don't mean to put them, but so be it. The starfish wants to be this way, this is the way he will be. Okay, so I have all of my little dots on there. Now I want to melt them so that I know that they're not going to just pop off. So I'm going to focus just the tops there, rounding them out and making sure that they have become one with the body of the starfish. So I don't want him to be missing any of his spots. Okay, there he is. He's all nice and cute. He's got little dots on him. Now I'm going to reduce it because Triton is a reduction color, so it'll give it the shininess that double helix gives. Okay, now I am ready to pop him off of his little guy. I'm going to use a, what I have, a tool hanging around, and he should pop right off. And I put him onto my mandrel, and he did. He popped right off. Now if there is a mark on him, I'm just going to heat it off, and then I'm going to throw him into the kiln. And there he is. He's cute.